Hello everyone, this is lesson 1.2b, properties of real numbers. So the question is, identify the property of real numbers illustrated in the following equation. So we have negative 7z plus 0 equals negative 7z. The choices we have is commutative property of addition, associative property of addition, distributive property, multiplicative identity property, a multiplicative inverse property, commutative property of multiplication, associative property of multiplication, additive identity property, additive inverse property, and the zero factor law. The answer to this one is the additive identity property. The next equation is y cubed minus 6 plus, in brackets, negative y cubed minus 6 equals 0. And again, we have the same options. Let me see, make sure I did this right. Negative, there we go, equals 0. The correct answer to this question is the additive inverse property. It's inverse because one is one side of the equation, y cubed minus 6 is positive, and the other, negative y cubed minus 6, is negative. So they cancel each other out to equal 0. Here we have the next equation as being negative 2y times 1 divided by 2y equals 1, where negative 2y is not equal to 0. Now we can already tell that this is going to be one of the multiplication answers. So for those, we have multiplicative identity property, multiplicative inverse property, commutative property of multiplication, or associative property of multiplication. So this is going to be the multiplicative identity property. Oh, I am wrong there. Sorry about that. It's the multiplicative inverse property. So I'll explain why that is, because I got the answer wrong. We have negative 2y times 1 over 2y equals 1. So what we want to do here is we want to multiply negative 2y times 2y. So negative 2y times 2y equals 1. That leaves the denominator. If we have negative 2y, so if we try to plug in 0 for 2y, we get 0 times 1 over 0. Anything over 0 is undefined, so therefore you can't multiply that by 0. Let's see what the next question is. So it is 2 times y equals y times 2. Here we have two options, commutative property of multiplication and associative property of multiplication. The answer is commutative property of multiplication. And we're going to go ahead and plug some numbers into this. So we have y equals 2. So that would be 2 times 2 equals 2 times 2 equals 4 is equal to 4. Okay, the next equation is negative 5 negative 3 times negative 2 equals negative 5 times negative 3. Go to this on my whiteboard here. Times negative 2. So as you can see here, the brackets have shifted over. On this side, we have the brackets around the negative 3 times negative 2. I'll go ahead and simplify this so it's a little bit easier to read. Two negative numbers multiplied together equals a positive number, so negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. Then we have negative 5 times negative 3, that is 15 times negative 2. Here we got negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. And then 15 times negative 2 also equals negative 30. The property of that is the associative property of multiplication. Move on to the next equation. We got 10 plus z equals z plus 10. And our answer choices are commutative property of addition and associative property of addition. So remember, if we plug a number into this, we'll just see z equals 1. 10 plus 1 equals 1 plus 10. That property is commutative property of addition. Here we have another equation. Negative 8 plus 7 equals 7 plus negative 8. We got negative 1. Negative 1 is equal to negative 1. Okay, double check that, and negative 8 plus 7 does in fact equal negative 1. This is going to be an addition answer, and again, we have the commutative property of addition, associative property of addition, and additive inverse property, additive identity property, and the correct answer for this one is the commutative property of addition. eraser. So we've already seen a couple of those. And here we have another equation. Here we have negative 2y cubed times 1 equals negative 2y cubed. That is the multiplicative identity property. Let's skip that one because we've already went over that. Skip that one because we've already went over that. And this right here is my favorite property. Negative 3 times 8z squared plus negative 3 times negative 2y squared equals negative 24z squared plus 6y squared. So I'll simplify this a little bit. We have negative 3 times 8 plus negative 3 times negative 2. So that gives us negative 24 plus 6. And we can attach our variables. Squared. It's really as simple as that. And this is the last problem right here. Zero times negative 6. That property is the zero factor law. And that concludes chapter 1.2b, properties of real numbers.